Hey everybody, welcome to Storm Talk on this Tuesday, the final Tuesday of the month of May. As we begin to close out the month and begin a new one, not a lot is going to change weather-wise. It's kind of a rinse and repeat kind of a deal. At least right now, it's lovely out. We've got nice blue sky overhead. Humidity level slowly working its way down. Nothing dramatic though expected because the front is really just coming to a crawl and becoming more horizontal in southern Kentucky. So it allows that force not to really kick in anymore, that lower humidity. In fact, the wind flow is still generally out of the southwest. So it'll be pleasant, but not overly dramatic as far as the change in humidity levels it looks like. We'll keep an eye on this as most of the shower thunderstorm activity today will focus right at the focal point of the front where there's enough forcing to get the clouds up there to produce some downpours. You see how it's snaked all the way back to the west into Missouri. Another front, though, is waiting for us up here to the north, and that is going to move in here about this time tomorrow. Yeah, you can see where the humidity level is the highest. Southern Kentucky, southeast, that's where your rain chance is going to be at today for any shower and thunderstorm activity. Doesn't mean we can't roll it out locally north. It just means the chance is certainly higher to the south. Then we'll focus the attention on the next front. And here is Futurecast showing how the first one moving on through, getting a few of those little downpours along where that front is fading out this afternoon. And then here comes the second one. And this one's going to have several little rounds being thrown at us on that southwest flow that could be as early as around midnight. Some of those could be developing, and some of those could be some hefty thunderstorms. Not expecting severe. These are what we call elevated thunderstorms tonight. But there could be some lightning, some heavy rain, maybe some small hail, and a few of those. Wouldn't surprise me. Then the front actually will clear through here. You could look at what we call the PWATS, precipitable water, in the atmosphere. It's the best way to tell how your rain chances are going to play out. And when we look at tomorrow morning, midnight until 6 a.m., you can see there's a surge in our moisture level right along the heart of wave country. So that's where the rain chance is going to go up after midnight tonight, that southwest flow. As we get into the afternoon hours tomorrow, we don't have as much yet to deal with. We have little pockets, so can't roll out. It's going to be a west flow in the afternoon period, so we can't roll out a few pockets, perhaps, of a downpour or shower, but it's certainly going to be much more to the east and southeast. But if you look to the west, you see what's coming. Yeah, another round of moisture, it looks like. So here's the front on Wednesday. Again, moving off to the south and east. We begin to dry things out. Can't roll out an isolated shower in the afternoon period in that westerly flow. Sometimes these models, especially high-res models like this, can read cumulus clouds as a shower. So it populates it with a green dot. It doesn't always necessarily mean that it will rain. But we'll keep the chance in there. Then Thursday, we get that stuff to the west. Builds back in. This is a warm front scenario. So we get back into the humid setup as we into Thursday. Some showers and thunderstorms. Now, when we look at the overall severe threat just the next few days alone, it looks very marginal. Shear is what we're looking at here. Again, the benchmark I like is 40 knots, and we get close to it for later on tonight. Again, tomorrow, not far from it, 35 to 40. That's marginal. It's iffy. And then it's not as much of a factor as we head toward Thursday into Friday. It does begin to drop a bit more. So this is not a strong severe weather signal we are looking at the next few days. But a few gusty thunderstorms can't be ruled out. So we don't want to downplay completely to where you're not going to get any warnings at all. It just means the coverage of warnings looks very, very spotty and isolated. So let's move ahead to what's happening Friday into the weekend. And that's going to involve a front. It's going to move down. It's going to stall out. The wind field is along it, parallel to the front, which means the front just isn't in a hurry to go anywhere. There's nothing to really kick it out of the way. So it's going to allow multiple waves of energy to track along it. In addition to that, growing signs of a tropical low, not to the point like the Canadian model of hinting at a organized tropical system, depression forming, but at least a tropical low very close to the coastline of the Gulf that could certainly add more moisture content into our area, being fed into the actual low, the strongest one of all of them, those little impulses over the weekend that's going to finally yank all that moisture out of here. So here we are on Friday. Moisture levels not as high as they will be for the weekend, but Friday they're up there. So again, if some downpours, thunderstorms can't be rolled out, it's going to be a little more of a humid day on Friday with temperatures in the mid-80s. And then as we head into Saturday, look at the dew point levels on Saturday. Just like last weekend. Although not as high as last weekend, the moisture levels, but up there. Back to that more humid, sticky feel, and this is a good setup for anything that can take advantage of this kind of moisture in the air, can produce heavy, localized flash flooding. And even on Sunday, we're still in the mix. You can see where the low is, though, beginning to show up in the maps here near St. Louis Sunday. it'll take until probably Sunday night and Monday to get some of that dry air to work its way in. As far as severe weather goes, there is one little ripple that I am noticing here for Saturday night into Sunday, part of the low-level jet kicking in, that may try to enhance perhaps a more organized area, maybe some gusty thunderstorms Saturday night. We're not out looking from the Storm Prediction Center for the weekend. They're having a tough time figuring out where to outlook anybody, and understandably so. It's nearly impossible for guys to really time out these little impulses moving through. So all we can tell you is overall setup is there for periods of thunderstorms off and on Friday, Saturday, and really into Sunday. But exact timing, can't nail it down yet. We're not to that point. We're getting closer, and we will have more information as early as tomorrow on that. But in general, just be prepared for occasional downpours to track through if you have plans this weekend. And then once we get beyond that, the question is our meteorological summary here going to be delayed a bit because these low pressures may keep things on the cool side as we get more fronts kind of drifting in. So all the oranges and reds, the heat of summer-like weather, is still across the Rockies and into the deserts where you might expect them to be. So this trend here of cooler than average pattern across the Northeast and the Great Lakes looks to continue for at least the first 10 days of June. I am seeing signs by mid to late June that we may center that troughiness, if you will, a little more into this area and the northern plains, and that would likely be enough to allow for a more east-west gradient of heat that will likely build into the southeast corner of the country, and that would likely just get us into normal standards, into the 80s, maybe close to 90 in a few cases. So not exactly a heat wave scenario, but I do think a reality check will come into play as the month wears on. So that's it for now, guys. Stay tuned for updates on that heavy rain scenario, and we'll try to get a better handle on this. As far as rain amounts, I would say right now 1 to 3 inches is on the table, and that will vary depending on where you are.